Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, DAM at the Heart of Cultural Innovation. I am Magdalena, and I'll be your moderator as we explore how digital asset management systems and their integrations are transforming the GLAM sector. And GLAM, of course, stands for galleries, libraries, archives, and museums. Without further ado, I would like to tell you a bit more about the main speakers of this webinar. I'd like to welcome business process consultant Hilde Hagen. She has an extensive experience guiding museums through complex DAM integrations and helping them ensure that digital collections are interoperable, future-proof, and accessible to diverse audiences. And Kristina Huddart, a DAM specialist and consultant at Huddart Consulting. Kristina brings a deep background in the GLAM sector and DAM technologies, and of course, she'll be sharing some of her findings and results of her most recent research, "The State of AI in DAM." Over the next hour, the agenda of this webinar and something that you'll be able to hear is more about the role of DAM in GLAM, then the real world examples of how an integrated DAM ecosystems look like. As I mentioned, the AI in GLAM research results from Kristina Huddart's research this year, and of course, final words and key takeaways, and of course, some guidance points from our speakers. So together, Hilde and Kristina, they'll share insights from leading cultural institutions. They'll draw on the recent research results into the AI technologies in DAM, and of course, offer you practical guidance for building an integrated ecosystem that, of course, supports your storytelling, preservation, and audience engagement. We've saved some time at the end for a Q&A part. So please feel free to use the right side panel from the Webinar Geek platform to put in any questions that you have for Kristina and Hilde. And of course, at the end, we'll try to answer them all. In the meantime, during the presentation of our speakers, I will be running in the background a couple of polls as to engage with you and find out more about your viewpoints on the DAM technology and the DAM systems. So please be mindful of the right side panel of the Webinar Geek preview screen. So any pop-up polls will appear for you there. And without further ado, I'd like to welcome Kristina for her part on introducing the role of DAM systems in the GLAM sector. Kristina, welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Magdalena. And thank you all for joining us today. A huge thank you, firstly, to WoodWing for bringing us all together to talk about DAM and GLAM. This is one of my favorite topics. I've been working in digital asset management and across the technical ecosystem for over 12 years now. And I've also created and I teach the DAM for GLAM course at Rutgers University. And I've been working with GLAM organizations like the Canadian Museum for Human Rights, Kew Gardens, Historic Royal Palaces, Art Fund, and many more over the years. So I'm very excited that we're all together today again. So today we're going to talk a little bit about where we are now. And this is really interesting, right? Cultural institutions today are digital powerhouses. We know this. You're producing and curating massive volumes of digital and digitized content. Yet, despite this powerhouse that you have working in the background, many of your organizations are still highly fragmented. You have systems like collection management systems, digital asset management, archive tools, your visitor, customer, and member data. And you also probably have some exhibition planning or event planning platforms that are operating in silos as islands. Meanwhile, the public expects accessible, immersive experiences delivered instantly across all of your channels, right? They want the magic. From your website to your apps to merchandising and digital licensing, they expect to have a smooth customer experience, despite perhaps these still siloed systems in-house. But at the same time, you're also facing mounting pressure to preserve, interpret, and monetize your collections more efficiently. So, what this image illustrates here is the reality of complexity. Multiple digital and physical versions across disconnected systems, all orbiting around a single object. Now, multiply this by 100,000, by a million, however many objects you have in your collection. And what we're going to talk about today is the importance of integration. So, without integration, GLAMs risk missing their full digital potential because all of these systems, all of this information and data is still in a silo. Oh, so I think we've run our first poll. Let's go and have a look. Are all of you? Oh, has that poll ended? Okay, great. So, very excitingly to see that 85% of you already have a digital asset management system in place. Fabulous. And a couple of you don't have one yet, but you're planning for it. So we're very excited that you've all joined this session. So today we're going to be talking about all sorts, whether you have a dam or you're going to be having a dam in the future. There's something here for you today. So for those of you who already have a dam, um, probably already are starting to see this, even if you're right at the beginning of your journey. And those of you who are thinking about getting a dam, this is going to be really important for you to consider as well. So, in GLAM organizations, your mission often centers around access, education, and preservation. But to achieve this mission in a digital first world, you need more than just a collection management system, which primarily manages the catalog records related to your collections, right? I presume all of you already have a collection management system, and hopefully you're planning to connect that now with your dam if you haven't already. But your visitors are visual, right? So we have to remember that we may have a collection management system, but all of our visual content is going to be sitting on our DAM system. And so, because of that, DAM often takes on this strategic role as the hub. It's the laying the foundations for our scalable, discoverable, and accessible digital content. It enables immersive virtual experiences, multilingual engagement, and cross platform storytelling, right? We need the information in our collection management system to be married up with our dams and for that to power our customer experiences. And this isn't something legacy tools or mini dam systems can do. So, when I talk about mini dams, you may have noticed that some of your collection management systems, some of your web content management systems, maybe even your social media systems, offer a little bit of a dam add on. They say, yeah, our tool can also do dam. Well, I hate to break it to you, but unfortunately, those kind of mini dam systems are not going to cut it for what you need to really deliver a great customer experience. You absolutely need a dedicated, robust, modern dam system. These little systems are not designed to orchestrate a modern digital ecosystem. So what you're going to need is an integrated enterprise level dam. It's going to be the heartbeat of your collections content, as well as your marketing, your educational, and your brand content. So DAM brings it all together into one place. And that's going to connect your collections to your audiences wherever they are. And when we talk about integrations, again, it's really important to think about this as a full ecosystem rather than individual siloed tools. DAM sits right here in the middle. It's not a standalone repository. It's not a black box where we just put content and let it sit on the shelf and get dusty. It's not an island. Same as your collection management system. We need to be able to share this content and this data with our visitors. So GLAM organizations operate in increasingly complex digital ecosystems. You have loads of different tools, collection management systems, data tools, maybe a grants system, creative tools, customer-facing channels like websites, apps, of course, print. Print is never dead. And then integrations between these platforms aren't anymore a nice to have. These are essential for you to be able to do things with speed, accuracy, and impact. So this chart or this kind of diagram shows how DAM sits at the center of a broader tech stack. Yet many integrations are often still missing in your organizations or partially in place. So it's these little lines that connect these bigger systems. These are the integrations that we need to be able to automatically push content from one tool to another. And we know in the GLAM space how important metadata is. So we need these integrations to ensure that we don't lose the metadata along the way. And so that's why building a business case for integration is so important. Start by identifying the most manual, painful content flows and ask, what could be automated? So look at what your peers in the GLAM sector are doing and make sure to invest in scalable strategic connections that unlock the value of your assets. Again, a lot of legacy tools and mini DAM systems won't have the integration or composable architecture to be able to do these integrations even. So it's quite important to think about that in advance. Now, I think we've run another poll. Let me just take a look. Here we go. All right. So we ask you, what is the status of integrations for your DAM systems? All right. So this is really interesting to see. So the majority of you, 58%, say that you've already done some partial integration. Fantastic. So some of your tools are already connected, and that means you're probably already seeing the value of those connections and how important those integrations are and how it's hopefully helping you to automate and smoothly deliver content at a faster rate, higher quality, better information is getting to the right visitors or members or customers. Now, 17% of you say that you're either planning integrations in the next 3 months, um, or we also have somebody who said that they're fully integrated with other systems. So fantastic. You have reached kind of the nirvana level that we all want to be at. But also remember, technology is not everything. So hopefully also you're able to get your people and your processes and your data aligned as well. And then 17% of you say that you don't have any integrations planned yet, but I hope by the end of this session today, you're going to be thinking about integrations, and Hilde is going to show us some amazing examples of the importance of this. So for any of you who don't have integrations yet or are only starting to integrate your systems with each other, um, let's help you build a business case, right? Because we know how tight budgets can be in the GLAM sector. So you're probably going to have to go and convince leadership to buy into this. So here are a few easy benefits of integrated ecosystems that you can share with your leadership. And again, Hilde is going to show us some great examples of how integrations can really power your content experience. So remember, integrations are not just a technical necessity, they're a strategic enabler. So don't think about it from the technical side. Your leadership doesn't care about the tech. They care about what value it's going to deliver. So for GLAM organizations, integrations form the backbone of sustainable, scalable content operations. Now, to fully deliver on your public mission, I know all of you have a public mission. And that mission is usually very, very ambitious. Like, we want to reach everybody in the world and educate them about our collections and our history. And that's, that's incredibly ambitious. And so to be able to deliver on that mission, our institutions need the infrastructure in place to support both the innovation and the stewardship of our collections. Now, that means tightly connecting DAM with systems like our collection management system, our website CMS systems, our publishing platforms. Integrations are so key to that, making sure that there is one centralized truth going across all of the systems. Now, when these systems work together, storytelling can become seamless across online galleries, kiosks, social media, and beyond. And you also can improve attribution, rights compliance, right? How many of us struggle with rights compliance, which is so complex in the GLAM space? You have artists' rights, historical rights, rights that from trusts and estates to deal with. And we're also trying to make sure that all of our content is really accessible for all types of people and all types of visitors. So to be able to deliver that value, we need the foundations, the integrations, the right tech in place for building trust and reaching wider audiences. Now, at the heart of it, integration is going to deliver these 5 essential benefits. And we're going to talk a little bit about each of these today. All right, so I'm going to pass over now to Hilde to show us some real-world use cases.
Thank you, Kristina. Yes, I will show you some examples, but first, can you go to the next slide, Kristina? Yes. So first, what I would like to show you, I would like to show you an example. It's the collection platform. It's developed by Dutch Museum, the New Institute, and I would like to show you this example because it's an example where a strong ecosystem combined with a really strong user interface can reach a broad audience. So I think it's a really nice example how design and techniques comes together. And in the ecosystem, a digital asset management system is included, in which also JPEG 2000 files are stored. Those are object imagery. And because there's also a IIIF image server included in the ecosystem, the new institute is able to create a deep zoom, which gives an extra experience for their visitors. What they also did is they created an integration between the digital asset management system, the dedicated digital asset management system, and their collection management system, which is in their case Axial Collections. And that's how they created a data flow where a complete set of object content is generated, which is needed in a platform like the collection platform. And because the DAM system is used to organize and distribute imagery or other digital asset files like video or audio in the future, they also included a preservation archive, which is related to the DAM system and where their original files are stored, which are really large files, and they need to be kept safe for a long term. Kristina, can you go to the next slide? But first, something about the new institute. It's a Dutch museum for architecture, design, and digital culture, and it's based in Rotterdam, and it holds the National Collection of Dutch Architecture and Urban Planning, and their collection consists of drawings, models, photographs, but also digital files. And they created the collection platform to make their collection accessible for everyone, not just experts who knows exactly how to find objects because they know the subject. And they would like that everyone could explore online their objects which are collected in teams, read stories. And what they did, they connected those collections by using linked open data. So that's also part of their ecosystem. And they also would like to support researchers and education. You can go to the next slide. So, well, I will start showing the collection platform. So I will share my screen. And I share the platform. So this is the platform. This is the start of the platform. And you can click Begin Exploring, and then you will start exploring. And I already started with the search, and I searched for this object, and it is an object. And when I scroll down, you will see information about the object, an image. You will see metadata. You can browse through other images related to this topic, and over here, a relation. And I can click the relation. So the system helps me, the platform helps me to explore through their collection. And again, I'm in the cloud view. You see new relations are established. It's a really nice interface. It helps you, it tells you something. And again, I can read this story, and you will see images. And every image can be fully zoomed in. So I can open the image and I can zoom in, look for other details, close the image. And when I go up again to the cloud view, I can establish a new relation, and via the relation, I can also open an object. And in this case, it's this is something about drawings. And I think this is a great way to help me. I'm not an expert. I do not know a lot about architecture, not at all. But it helps me to explore their collection, to read their story. And I think this is a great example how you can reach a broader audience by creating a platform. So you can go to the next slide, Kristina. So now something about the back end. So I will again share my screen. Yeah, thank you. What I would like to show you is the DAM system, which is integrated, which is part of the collection of the ecosystem, and I will log in. This is WoodWing Assets, and the new institute included WoodWing Assets in their ecosystem. And they created a file structure, and one folder, the collections folder, is related to the collection management system. So they also have other folders, but I want to tell a little bit about their integration. So this folder is related. And all digital assets are stored within WoodWing Assets. And per archive, a subfolder is created, and they store per archive their digital assets. And each file, so for instance, this file is related to an object in the collection management system, and information is exchanged between those systems. So in the collection management system, a preview is shown of this image, and also metadata. And on the other hand, the DAM system gets information from the collection management system. You see that over here you see information. It's not owned by the DAM system, it's owned by collection management system. And when metadata is updated in the collection management system, it will also be updated within WoodWing assets. And an object is related to one or more records, and in the collection management system, and a media record is related to an image or another digital asset in them. And what we do is we relate those systems by using unique IDs. So we send a unique ID to the media record, and we get back a media record ID. So that's how the relation is established, and then the media record is related to the object in the collection management system. What do we deliver to the collection management system? That depends on the configuration. In this case, we send the file name, the file type, this information like this, the technical information, is extracted by the DAM system out of the JPEG 2000 file. But you are also able to extract other types of metadata out of the file, but you can also include metadata via the DAM system. And over here you see active information. That is also information which we send to the media record. And in that way, you can work with the DAM system without needing a collection management system, because you see enough information about the collection. On the other hand, when you mainly use the collection management system, you don't need the DAM, because we deliver that information to the collection management system via the media record. So you can work in both systems and see enough information and do your things. You saw the deep zoom in the collection management system. We also included the IIIF viewer within our DAM system, so I can push this button, and now the image is loaded, and I can create a deep zoom to really see the details of the image, and I can close the file. So it is the same techniques which is used because the IIIF image server is somewhere in the ecosystem. Multiple websites of tools can consume from the IIIF image server. Another thing which is integrated to them is the preservation archive. Over here I can show you the preservation interface. And what you see in the DAM system, you see the imagery. So we choose to create one interface, so people do not need all kinds of interfaces to reach their files. One content management system, and you can bring the original file to the archive. For instance, a really big 16 TIFF original file. And over here you see the file is already archived. You see the metadata, it's successfully archived, and we get also a unique number back from the preservation archive. When you would like to retrieve the files, you can push the retrieve button. In that case, there will be a request to the preservation archive, and it will be getting the file and deliver it in the retrieve folder, so the original file can be retrieved. And a group of people, so mostly one or two, are able to delete files in the preservation archive, because usually you store them for long term, and the idea is not to delete them, but sometimes an error is made and you have to resolve it. So that's possible. And you can update metadata, because sometimes metadata is updated and you would like to keep the metadata updated in the preservation archive as well. What we do in the preservation archive, we create metadata versions, because we don't want to throw away the history, because it's a long-term archive. You should know what happened. And what we also do in the preservation archive, we create a data checksum, which is needed to check if everything is still okay. So those were the examples I would like to show you. I hope it gave an idea what is possible when you creating a strong ecosystem and combine it with a really nice front end. Back to you, Kristina.
Yeah, Hilde, I just want to say, I mean, these examples are incredible. So going back to the 5 benefits that we talked about earlier, I mean, I see some incredible benefits here, right? The integration between DAM and your collection management system is a centralized source of truth, right? Your source of data is still coming from the collection management system. Your source of assets is and digitized information is coming from your DAM, and that's brought together in one unified shared place. That's incredible, and that's only possible with that integration. You also are able to make better decisions on your collection preservation, how you exhibit your collection, how you preserve and conserve your collection over time, by marrying up the collection management data with your DAM system. And then, being able to have that IIIF viewer right within the DAM allows you and conservationists, researchers, internal staff members to really zoom in on assets, be able to tell the story and do interesting research. Some of you may have heard of a recent announcement from one of the Harvard libraries that they have just recently discovered that what they thought was a copy of the Magna Carta in their collection has actually been determined to be an original from 1300. It was purchased for $27 in the 1950s by Harvard, and now it's worth probably 27 million. And so, one of the ways of doing research on your own collections and being able to do it from a digital perspective and allowing others externally also to do that research is by having these integrations. So by bringing in the collection management data, your assets from your DAM, and then putting that IIIF viewer on top of it is so incredibly powerful. And it means that not only your internal users, but also all of your external visitors, your members, the members of the public who want to engage with your collections, they will be able to do so in a much more engaging way, but also to have the power of that information at their fingertips. We saw with the Niue Institute, I mean, the way that they connect their objects so that you can research and deep dive and learn more. You can go down incredible rabbit holes and spend hours and hours just getting lost in their collections. And you can do that from home. That's incredibly powerful. And it also, not only does it give wider public access, but I mean, I see that and it makes me want to go visit the actual on-site location. So I'd like to go to that Niue Institute, next time I'm in Amsterdam. So it's really engaging with our members and again our audiences, but it's also helping us to achieve our wider mission of engaging with our wider audiences. And then we also saw the preservation and archive system integrations, which that's incredible. It's helping us to future-proof our assets and our collection history, the conservation history, how our objects have been preserved and treated and where they're being stored over time. I mean, that's incredibly powerful. So again, these are great examples. Thank you so much, Hilde, for sharing those examples. So we've seen how integrating your dam with platforms like collection management systems, as well as archive systems, preservation systems, and then the IIIF viewer creates a more connected, efficient ecosystem. But integration isn't just about improving workflows, it's also about unlocking the doors to something even more powerful. Now we have to talk about artificial intelligence, right? We're in the AI revolution now. So this is part of every conversation. Um, and with integration, right, that comes with possibilities to leverage AI. A lot of our organizations are talking about AI. Maybe we're still a little bit worried about it. But really, we need to start thinking about how can we leverage AI and what can it do for us. So once we have the grounding, the foundations of a really strong technical ecosystem, then we can start to layer in AI on top of it. And let's talk a little bit about what that could look like. So, to better understand how organizations are really using AI in practice, I've conducted the State of AI in DAM 2025 research. This is now the third year I've been doing AI in DAM research. And I'm really excited because this is out now and it's available. So, this is an independent industry study that gathers insights from, we've had over 250 DAM content and digital operations professionals, including many of you from the GLAM sector. And thank you to any of you who are on this session today who have contributed. And I also want to say a huge thank you to WoodWing for supporting this research. This is the second year that WoodWing's been supporting the research. And without them, it wouldn't be possible to bring you these insights from the wider community. So I believe after this session, you will get a link for a copy of the research that you can download and take a look at. But I will be presenting some of the findings here, particularly from the GLAM industry. So we're going to talk a little bit about what we saw in these real world responses from institutions just like yours, and highlight how AI is being applied today, what's on the roadmap for the next 12 months, and where are the biggest opportunities and challenges. So let's jump into the data. Excuse me. All right. If we look at the data by industry, we see that not all industries are moving at the same speed in adopting AI in DAM. And remember, adoption isn't just about the technology. It really depends on our internal priorities, our budget cycles, operational complexities, cultural shifts. Adoption means potentially a whole different way of working, and also our organization's readiness to embrace change. So just putting in a new piece of technology is not going to mean that people are going to use it. So this is really interesting because we know that a lot of organizations are bringing in AI, but how well are they using it and how much is it being adopted is really interesting. So what we're seeing is that if you're familiar with this is what is called Rogers Innovation Adoption Curve. This is a change management kind of principle that we often talk about, where for anything new, any changes, there are often innovators, people who jump on it right away and say, oh, we want to do this, and we're going to be the first to experiment with it. And when it comes to AI and DAM, we're seeing that the automotive industry is right there. They're one of the first ones to say, I think we can use this. And years ago, they started using this immediately. Then the other 39% of kind of this early wave are the early adopters. Now, these are people who might not be the first, but they're very closely behind the first to start experimenting with AI and DAM. And here we see the financial services. Of course, tech companies are going to be early adopters, right? Media and entertainment is using AI already quite heavily, creative agencies, and then retail and e-com. Now, on the second half of Roger's innovation adoption curve are the early majority. So again, these are people who they're not far behind, but maybe they're just we wait a little bit to see how other people are using AI and DAM, what's working, what's not working. So we want to learn some lessons before we jump in, right? So I can say very, very happy to say that cultural heritage and GLAM is actually right at the forefront of the early majority. And this is really interesting to me, right? Because sometimes we think of cultural heritage and GLAM as being a little bit slow to adopt new technology and to start experimenting. As an object-based kind of physical organizations, oftentimes digital transformation has been a bit scary and a bit difficult for us to really jump into. But interestingly, when it comes to AI and DAM, cultural heritage and GLAM organizations are way up there. Um, whereas what we're seeing on the late majority are the pharmaceuticals, healthcare and life sciences organizations, public sector, government and education organizations. Now, the late majority doesn't mean that they're not using it at all. They're not completely resistant to it. But perhaps there are other things holding them back. And we can understand this from pharmaceuticals, healthcare, and sciences. They have a lot of private data that they need to keep safe. So we can understand that they may not be jumping into it too quickly. And then same with public sector, government, and education, where again, there's privacy concerns, but also perhaps budget restrictions or capacity gaps as well. So let's look a little at AI adoption, specifically in the GLAM sector. What are people doing? So we've seen from the research that 51% of you are using AI in your DAM already. Fantastic. And if you're not yet, there's 7% of you who say that you're not yet using AI in your DAM. And then 12% of you are not totally sure. And that's totally fair, right? We see this often now. AI seems to be embedded in every single tool that we use. And it's not totally clear to us, is there an element of what we're doing using or driven by AI or not? Sometimes it's not completely obvious to us. So if you're not sure if you're using AI and DAM, you probably are to some extent, but maybe without it being totally obvious that you are doing so. All right, so then the question we asked was, how exactly are GLAM institutions putting AI to work in their DAM systems? What is it that they want to do? What do they want to see in the next 12 months? What's on their roadmap? So according to the 2025 State of AI and DAM research, the most common use cases, both at 78%, are automating tagging and metadata management and improved search and discovery. So these two things are closely linked. They sound very similar, but they are different. So just want to clarify what that means. So AI for metadata management includes using AI to identify objects and images and actually apply the metadata. This can also include extracting text and context from historical documents using, let's say, OCR. We can now do some OCR on handwritten documents using AI, which is really exciting. And transcription that way. We can also do speech to text transcription, facial recognition, logo recognition, and lots more to enrich our metadata automatically on assets. Now, AI search and discovery is slightly different. Think of this as a smarter, more intuitive search where even if there's no metadata on the assets, so if you have a completely unstructured metadata, which a lot of GLAM organizations do, you've got a pile of assets that have never made it into your DAM, they have no metadata on them, and you know it's going to be a big slog to get through them. Well, this is where AI search and discovery can be really helpful because you don't need any metadata on there, and you're able to use natural language processing and visual similarity searches, visual AI vision search to actually find and discover your collections. Now, we've also seen that 70% of organizations are using or want to use AI and DAM for security, compliance, and reporting automation. That's things like flagging assets that are missing rights information, automating audit logs, and detecting expired usage rights across your collections. This would be very, very handy for all of us, wouldn't it? 55% of you are wanting to apply AI to measure content effectiveness and use predictive analytics. Wouldn't it be great to understand which types of assets perform best with the public, and forecasting future content needs based on usage trends? So which of your collections content will sell the best or be most interesting to the public at this time? And finally, 52% of you are leveraging AI or want to leverage AI for content lifecycle automation. There is so much that we do as DAM managers and DAM librarians that is just pushing your content through this life cycle. But wouldn't it be great if we could use AI to really assist us in automating version control, setting retention or review dates, triggering archive workflows and archive dates, moving your content seamlessly through that life cycle? That would be so amazing. These are practical use cases. And I would say AI is no longer just hype. This is actually happening. So I want to pass over to Hilde to show us an example of where this is actually happening.
Yeah, thank you, Kristina. Well, I will not really show an example. I will tell what we included within WoodWing assets. But I will keep it short because most is already told by Kristina. So what we did, we also included AI-powered tagging. That's also in the number one list in Kristina, her list, and we are using Amazon Recognition. So we made an interface with Amazon Recognition, and by doing so, you just upload your files, and then the interface and Amazon Recognition will help you to add tags to your files. And those files will help you within the DAM system to find your digital files back. So I think that's a really useful integration. And the other thing we did is an integration with data machine visual search, and that's for the visual search functionality. You will find similar images. You select an image, push the functionality button, and then you can define a percentage, and then that defines how precise your search will be. So when the percentage is very high, you find probably less files, but more precise. And then when it's more lower, you find more, but not that precise. And you can also define what's the maximum of your search, so that you see on the right side. And I think these are nice integrations, and I would like to tell you that those are included within WoodWing assets. Back to you, Kristina.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Hilde. And if we go over to our last poll, we're asking if you could choose from one of the AI features to enhance your DAM operations, which would you pick? And we can see, Hilde, that number one is automating tagging and metadata management. So what you've just shown us here is going to be incredibly useful for those on the webinar today. And we're really excited about this use case. So thank you so much for sharing this.
Yes.
All right, we can't talk about all the amazing things that AI is going to help us achieve without also talking a little bit about the challenges. So these are from the research, the top 5 barriers to AI adoption that we saw across all industries. Now, the GLAM industry really honed in on the challenge of data privacy, security, and rights management. Number 1. Number 3, which is the concern about ethics and AI biases. Those were your top 2 in the GLAM industry. But interestingly, number 4 there is also very high on the GLAM list, integration issues and complexities. So we've been talking about integration today, but as we know, integration, any technical integrations aren't without issues and complexity. So what we also asked the community in the 2025 State of AI and DAM research was to understand how organizations are planning to connect AI with their DAM, right? So we have many options. We can either create our own bespoke integrations, which can be costly and time consuming, but will mean that we often have exactly the integration that we need. But that's also quite difficult to maintain over time. So we can also be using plugins. So a lot of DAM vendors, including WoodWing, offer some amazing pre-built plugins, which are incredible to use, but they may not be completely flexible. They may not do exactly what you want it to do. So it won't be necessarily exactly like a bespoke integration would be. And then a third option is to use the AI functionality that our vendors have already integrated directly into their DAM system. So these are native out-of-the-box functions. And this is where we see that this is the top GLAM preference. In the GLAM industry, we primarily are looking for those out-of-the-box functionalities like WoodWing showed you today, which are incredible. Those integrations and those AI functionalities are more and more becoming available. We do have to give our vendors some time to add some of this functionality because it can be quite complex. But if it's not there yet, it is coming. And I want to say just a reminder of regardless how you end up connecting AI with your DAM or your other tools with your DAM, they should never feel like a bolt-on. The whole idea of integrations is that it's going to allow you to work more seamlessly. It shouldn't feel like the tools are still separate silos, just connected tenuously. So think back to the case studies that Hilde showed you today. Those were really seamless, fantastic integrations that we want to see more of. You don't even notice that I'm using a IIIF viewer. You're just able to, for example, zoom in on those assets. So really exciting things happening. And thank you, Hilde, for sharing those with us today. So as we wrap up, we just want to share a few key takeaways. If you want to take some of this back to your organizations or have a think and ask us some questions. So here are our 5 key takeaways. Firstly, we want to remind you to start with a plan. And this isn't just for DAM, but also for the wider ecosystem. What is it that you want to achieve? Remember, it's not necessarily about the technology. It's about what are your goals? What is your organization trying to achieve? And then how can the tech really support that? Also, let's remember that DAM implementation is a transformation journey. It takes the right people, leadership buy-in, and long-term support and change management. integrations and your full ecosystem, it's going to be a different way of working. So it really is a transformation in mindset, a different approach, a different workflow, and change management is so important in there as well. Then we also want to be clear about why you're implementing DAM or AI, whichever tools you're implementing. You want to be clear about the why. Again, it's not just about the technology, it's about what you want to achieve with it, how you want to improve access, how you want to connect your systems, what that end workflow is going to look like. And finally, make sure to use the right tools for the right jobs. Like we talked about, um, our collection management systems can't do everything. Our dams can't do everything. Our CMS, web CMS platforms can't do everything. But when you connect them with each other, each tool has its strengths and scope. You connect them with each other, and that's when you really get a powerful digital ecosystem. So, Hilde, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think that this is exactly the list that you needs to be aware of when starting using them, or when you try to do to take your next step within your DAM journey in your ecosystem. Yeah, it's important. I think it's most important to think what capability will be included in your DAM and which one should be in other tools. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Well, I think that this was the last wrap up slide, ladies. Thank you so much for sharing all those very useful insights, the key examples showed by Hilde, and of course the cherry on top, the AI and DAM research result from Kristina. I don't know if we're gonna have time for questions because we have 3 minutes left. So I will just look at the section of the chat functionality. I have a question from of one of the attendees, and just to make sure that we are clear, the recording of this webinar will be shared with all the registrants of the webinar after, of course, we finish the live session. Matthew Patulski is asking thoughts on protecting GLAM IP when integrating AI into your workflows. So if anyone of you would like to share any thoughts on protecting the GLAM institution IP when they integrate with an AI.
Oh, Matthew, I have some thoughts, but I want to let Hilde jump in if you wanted to add something.
The IP in them. Sorry, can you help me, Kristina?
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So Hilde, you've probably seen this. Comes up as a question when it comes to AI. How do we protect our IP, right? And this is a scary thing. We are worried about sharing our IP with any AI large language models because what if they take that IP, go off and use it for other people to, let's say, create artworks that maybe infringe on our copyrights with our agreements with our artists, or they take some of that historical information from our collection management systems that our metadata is so valuable. It's not just about the assets either. The metadata itself is incredibly valuable. So please protect your metadata. And we see a lot of organizations are struggling with exactly this because we want to use AI, but the challenge is often that we're not sure exactly what happens to the data. And this is where it's really important that, firstly, you have an internal agreement on what are your AI guardrails and your framework, so that you know exactly what you're allowed to do with your content and what your organization wants you not to do with your content. But then also that you work directly with the AI vendors to really make sure that anything that you're experimenting with, if you're putting content in there, if you're uploading any content to an AI, to query it, to even ChatGPT, right? Make sure the settings are set, or work with the AI vendor to ensure that your data is not being used elsewhere. And that's really a conversation. That's about contracting. That's about conversations. That's really about understanding the large language model and how they plan to leverage your data. Great question, Matthew. Not an easy answer.
Yes, thank you. There are a couple more questions, but unfortunately, we're out of time, out of the planned time. So I just want to thank everybody again for joining us today. Hopefully, this was an insightful and a really knowledge-rich session for everyone that joined us from the GLAM sector, of course. And yes, feel free to reach out to us or the speakers. They're easily to be contacted via LinkedIn, of course. And yes, hope to see you again soon in the next session with such delightful speakers to share their knowledge and insights. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kristina and Hilde. Hope you have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.